Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to a new episode of Bhakta Katha. So in Bhakta Katha, we are sharing the inspiring stories of devotees over here, and we are understanding what are their realizations about their devotional journey and what are their realizations from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Śrīmad Bhagavad-Gītā, and about Srila Prabhupada. So over here we have with us Her Grace Palika Mataji. So Palika Mataji has been serving Avataridesh. She is a senior devotee and she has also been working in the hospital sector. So let us go ahead and understand with her what is her spiritual journey and also about her realizations from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad-Gītā. So let us hear from you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Really happy to have you over here.
So Hare Krishna, thank you so much for inviting me to the podcast of Avataridesh. It's my great good fortune to be here, share with all of you, and it's a very wonderful initiative by the sincere devotees. This is a very sincere effort, I would say. So let's start with this small prayer. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Chalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swami Nidhi Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Mataji, let us hear something about you, Mataji, about your family background and about how you got connected to Krishna consciousness.
Yes. So that's a very wonderful question. First of all, about my family background, I am my native is Kerala. I'm from Kerala, from a regular Hindu background, and my parents are like general any other Hindus. We had the fortune to live in front of a Vishnu temple. That's one of the fortune as a family I had. From a very young age, I got the opportunity to get darshan of Mahavishnu because I had the fortune to stay there. So that's about my family background. Now, the second part of the question was about
how you got connected to
Krishna consciousness. So, to be very specific, I got connected to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness in 2002 while I started my work in Manipal, Karnataka. There used to be campus preaching by these ISKCON devotees. His Grace Namanishta Prabhu used to take class in the campus. That's how I got connected to the Krishna consciousness.
Very nice, Mataji. So that was your first attraction towards Krishna consciousness?
When you say attracted to Krishna consciousness, I would say from a young age I was quite inquisitive, like, somehow in my mind I was quite clear that Vishnu is supreme, but I was always wondering why there is many gods. At that point, everybody's like gods for me. Right. So I used to wonder why so many gods, and I used to ask my parents. And also my education happened in a Christian school. So there are some of my friends also who are very knowledgeable about their scripture. They used to also kind of question me, like, can you say the essence of Bhagavad-Gītā? Do you know why there are so many gods in Hinduism? And I never used to have any answer. So I used to be inquiring. I used to be like wondering, like, can I learn these things? Can I know what my religion is about? I used to wonder, how can I know about my religion? So that kind of a inquisitive stuff I had. But somehow I had no access. Of course, we have traditional recitation of Bhagavatam in the temple, but that does not explain, like, what is what or how we had to do things. But during my college days, when I was doing my undergraduate in Trivandrum Medical College, there in our bookstall there was one Bhagavad-Gītā. Obviously, I had not much money to buy Bhagavad Gita. My mother used to give me the exact amount of fees, but I used to gather some money, and I think in 4th year I managed to buy that Bhagavad Gita. I used to read it, but I never understood even one word. So a Krishna consciousness, before coming to Krishna consciousness, also I read Bhagavad Gita, in the sense where that is a regular edition of Bhagavad Gita. But I never understood even one word. I used to struggle. I sometimes even cry with that Bhagavad Gita, how can I understand this? I read one time, I wrote a letter to Taikad ISKCON also. I got an address from somewhere. But when I got the reply that Prabhuji also was advising me get the regular edition of Bhakti Yoga magazine, study regularly like that. And I had no money, no resources. So I did not, could not pursue that. But after my studies, when I moved to Manipal for my job, some of my friends saw actually a banner. The banner was saying, I still remember the banner was telling, matter doesn't matter, but spirit matters. So that banner was it was like a call, I would say. And so there I attended my first class. Namaste Prabhu was actually explaining about Arjuna's bewilderment. So I was thinking, it's like I could relate, to an extent. Well, Arjuna was also confused, no? So it's Bhagavad Gita is very relevant in that sense to anybody's life. Yeah.
Very nice, Mataji. I think you had a great spirit going on at that time, even though earlier you were not having much resources, but you still kept pushing and you were very curious to know more and to understand the Bhagavad Gita as well.
Sort of, yeah.
So, Mataji, you mentioned you were studying in a Christian school and also you moved to Manipal. So, were there any obstacles you faced when you were starting to get into Krishna consciousness? Were there any obstacles?
There were many obstacles, I could say. Of course, from a cultural point of view, because I was brought up in a very, orthodox type of family. We are not like girls are not allowed to go out individually, and you can't do this, can't do that. So always the restrictions from my parents, always that governed, my thought process or whatever. So initially when I started going to attend the classes, those times it's letters. So I used to write to my parents. I started attending one Bhagavad Gita class. It is taken by brahmacharis. So when they heard, I'm attending classes taken by brahmacharis, they were quite concerned. So actually, after 1 month, I think, of attending classes, I started going to the temple for Sunday, along with one of my senior devotee at that point. I used to go with her. She invited me to the temple. She said, we can do service and there are a lot of opportunities. So then I wrote, I'm going to the temple. Then my mother and father were very concerned. They said, you better resign and come back. We will arrange for Bhagavad class from here. And obviously, my friends advised, you don't have to share everything because they don't know the complete picture. So if you say, maybe as parents from an orthodox background, their thought process also you can't blame at that point. So they said, okay, no need to share all details. So you may, like that, what you are doing. So that was a kind of obviously kind of a conflict in the mind, but obviously I could justify. I'm not doing anything against parents, but something which is to be done rightfully. I think it's not to be kind of a major obstacle, but I was also feeling they're concerned, am I doing something, because in traditional, it's you become so religious. People look at you, are you a little crazy? Are you normal? so then I also got a little concerned. Am I really normal? Am I okay? Am I going out of the tradition?
Correct.
Because when you want to break the tradition and put tilak, put kantimala and all this, so you look like, to the traditional people, you look like a little strange.
Right.
So, and you're chanting always, chanting in the, you walk around and chant, and they don't see all these things. So they were feeling little concerned.
Correct.
So, but they were not like, I used to play it little safe so that they don't take it so seriously and block me. And I think that was some of the hurdles which maybe I faced. Yeah.
Okay, Mataji. Very inspiring to know that even despite all of these obstacles, you pushed forward so much and you've reached where you are today.
Hare Hare.
So, Mataji, you were working over here in Avataridesh. You were providing in the healthcare support. So, how are you able to manage along with your spirituality and along with your responsibilities at work? How were you managing both of them?
Well, if you are thinking of balancing, in one sense, if you want to well balance between the work life and sadhana that you're going to do, a lot of compromise is there. There's a lot of compromise because if you want to have a good chanting on a regular working day with a lot of responsibilities, it's like you always have that guilt feeling that you can't give your best. That's an aspiration actually. For a working person, that's an aspiration to be having the best chanting, to be doing. But I think this is always like a tag of fire, no? Sometimes I use it also like a justification for not doing the best at its best. So there's always opportunity to do at its best, but sometimes I take it also as an excuse, like oh, because I have X, Y, Z reasons. But what I'm hearing from senior devotees is like you can always attempt to be at its best. Yes, yeah, regarding chanting. So I used to do some japa in the morning hours. Then some I used to do like at work, some rounds. Then some when I come back in the evening, I try to do. But obviously nowadays, what I'm realizing, what I'm realizing is, sadly, all these years I wasn't really chanting. I could see I'm just struggling through those beats, because when I'm out of work and I'm trying to chant, I'm just reflecting on how I was all these years practicing. Yet Krishna is so merciful and he still kept me amongst devotees. So I think it's more of an endeavor. As a sadhaka, our side is just endeavor. When we struggle, Krishna sees that struggle, and that's what I can see.
Very nice, Mataji. So, Mataji, initially, before you joined Krishna consciousness, you had mentioned you faced a lot of obstacles, and then you have got married, and now you're having a family. So, wanted to check how are you in your family life? How you had inculcated Krishna consciousness? How did it start? Wanted to know about that.
So I'm married, yes, and I have also son, Chaitanya. My husband's name is Seva Das. Actually, at the time of marriage, when we had the initial meeting at home, we have this traditional kind of meeting the groom and then talk to them and all this. So while meeting Prabhuji for the first time, I was actually just asking him, because in Kerala, a lot of political influence people have a lot of atheistic tendencies, even though you're a so-called Hindu. So I was asking Prabhuji, are you God conscious? Do you accept like God's presence? He said yes. I still remember. He was telling I'm 60% God conscious. So he gave me a percentage. So I was like, okay, he's at least willing to accept the presence of God in life. So after the meeting, we had almost our engagement, and then Prabhuji he was working in the Middle East. So he had to leave. So we had almost 1 year before marriage. So during that 1 year, I had enough time to write to him whatever letters I wrote to him. I mentioned about Bhagavad-Gītā and Bhagavatam, about the Krishna conscious life. In a brief, I used to write the Hare Krishna Mahamandra on the sides and all. So at least I used to think, okay, at least read those mantras. He will get the chance to read. And he's also very pious person, I would say. I'm very fortunate to have Prabhuji in my life. Even my mentor used to tell me at that time, you're fortunate because he's not negative. He was not against what I'm practicing. He was very supportive. And after marriage, I never asked him, like, would you like to become Krishna conscious or take up these practices? I never officially asked him or, like, preached to him or something like that. He has taken up himself, like voluntarily he has done that. I was just only observing, and he is much better devotee than me, I would say. And my son Chaitanya, he's a very naughty boy, and I wish he will become also a devotee. As a parent, I do not know whether we have given him the best to become a devotee, but we are trying to give the opportunity, and let's see whether he will eventually take up Krishna consciousness.
Definitely, I'm definitely sure, Mataji. With such great parents, he would definitely grow into a great devotee. So, Mataji, you mentioned you had started attending the Bhagavad-Gītā classes. So, wanted to hear from you about your realizations from Bhagavad-Gītā, and also after that, we can also hear about Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, any of your realizations from these two scriptures.
Yeah, Bhagavad-Gītā is, I would say, Bhagavad-Gītā is like a mother of all scriptures as far as I'm concerned. I am not a widely read person, yet I read Bhagavad-Gītā a few times. So whenever I want some refuge, like, I always look to Bhagavad-Gītā. Sometimes I cannot remember much sloka, so I remember the first sloka, and I pray to Krishna. And sometimes I am reading the glorification of Bhagavad-Gītā, so that it helps me to appreciate Bhagavad-Gītā in much. What is the mercy that Bhagavad-Gītā is sharing? How it is Krishna's words. Sometimes when you love someone and you see their words or their language or their message, you you try to attribute the love that you hold. You attribute to those words, and you experience that love, even though they are not there. You feel that love is there in those words. So sometimes I read Krishna's words and I will wonder, oh, these are Krishna's words. This is what Krishna said. So it's the pure devotees is Krishna's words, is Krishna himself. So sometimes I find that find Krishna, like Prabhupada says, in every page there is Krishna. So I feel that sometimes, not always, but sometimes I try to push myself to feel presence of Krishna and meet him there in Bhagavad-Gītā. So I love Bhagavad-Gītā. Again, as I said, I'm not so vastly understood it, but I very much cherish Śrīmad Bhāgavatam for that matter. And when it comes to Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, it's about Krishna. So if you love somebody, you'd like to know more about them, yeah, how they speak, how they walk, where they lived, what are their activities, and how they used to make fun. So this is what I'm hearing from great devotees, like, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is about Krishna. So if you want to love Krishna, then you naturally like to know about him and personalize some devotional aspirations. So we develop devotional aspirations from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, how the devotees are interacting with Krishna. I'm not at that level, but I develop those desires. At this moment, I don't have any devotional desires. But when I'm reading Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, like recently I was reading the service of the deer. So when Krishna is along with the entourage, when he is entering Giri Govardhan, the service of the deer is to just look at Krishna. Then I was so amazed, like, the deer's service is only to look at Krishna. So that can be service. Then I can do some service. I can just look at Krishna. So, or look at the program that's going on and just admire. So Krishna accepts any sort of service, even looking at him with love, he accepts it as service. So that opportunity, I don't know that unless I read that from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So Śrīmad Bhāgavatam opens up a lot of windows and shows us how we can engage, how to develop those aspirations, and maybe a journey towards that. Yeah.
Very nice, Mataji. Mataji, also, do you have any special shloka that you like or that you remember when you're facing any obstacles? Is there any particular shloka like that which you are liking or more fond of?
There is no particular sloka that I chant when I face obstacles, because I'm not, as I mentioned, I'm not so much a Shastric person. But I, of course, whenever there's a struggle, for me, struggles are always in the mind. So I used to always wonder when we say mana, like, take shelter of Krishna in the mind means what? So from senior devotees I hear, we need to have Shastric Shraddha. If you want to face struggles, what we need is Shastric Shraddha, the faith in the scriptures, means those instructions. So I used to reflect on the pastime of how Kundi Maharani is to faced and went through and grown through her obstacles, and she time and again I used to reflect on those, and how Uttara, even though she just lost her husband and yet she's about to lose or feel a threat towards her child, and she is approaching Krishna. So she's not questioning, Krishna, in one sense, you allowed my husband to pass away in front of you. So now why I will take shelter of you. So these are great incidents. So I used to reflect on such incidents and take courage. Means, what does it mean, protection of Krishna? And what does it mean, what to do when you don't know what to do? So I think when we are in a struggle, we should be much prepared, not at the point of struggle. We should be much. That's why it should be a daily cultivation, so that nourishes you. So when you are at a kind of a point where you don't know what to do, you know what to do. Something like that.
So it's about developing that faith so that we can have full confidence in God's plan for us, and we don't fail in believing in Him.
If you may question, you may not be having the full acceptance all of a sudden, okay, I accept. We may not have that as a sadhaka, at least I can tell. I'm not saying, okay, Krishna gave me struggle, okay, accept, okay. No, I also fall down, I break. Like when I shared with senior devotees, what they say is, it's like how fast you come back to Krishna, how fast you come, okay, you break, you cry, or you struggle, but how quickly you come back to the shelter of the Shastra that comes to your mind, that pacifies you, or you're willingly, or you're convinced to take shelter without questioning, why me, why this happening to me, why, no, that question. So that's a journey, definitely it's a journey of from a Shraddha, which is very weak, to develop, to build. I would say I'm in that journey, I can say, or I'm trying to make that journey with all the devotees. Yeah.
Very nice, Mataji. So, Mataji, I have a follow-up question on that. So many of us, we do not have association right now with devotees. So initially where I was also living, I was not having the association of devotees. So what would you say regarding that? Is association important in this journey? How important would it be?
Yes, association is very important. Like in Bhagavad-Gītā, it says, Sangat Sanjayate Kama. Association has a lot of power and influence. Now, when we say in spirituality, in Krishna consciousness, association can be Vapu or Vani. So there are incidents where Prabhupada's disciples share that they found one Mataji in the Amazon forest area when they went for book distribution. There was no ISKCON temples or centers, but when they approached one house, so one Mataji opened the door and she was already in Vaishnava attire and wearing tilak, And in that area, there was no temple or preaching center. So they were wondering, how come in this Amazon forest area there is one devotee? And she was revealing that she was an air hostess. And there she got some very brief association of Prabhupada. And she had the great good fortune to get the Mahamaha of Prabhupada. And also, when they were exiting the flight, they gave some couple of books to that Mataji. So reading that, she cultivated. So association, when we say in Krishna consciousness, it's actually the how much we have imbibed those instructions. So that's association. So Prabhupada says, I am in my books. So as an aspirant, as an aspiring sadhaka, so we all follow that instruction. We approach Srila Prabhupada's books, we get double mercy. Krishna is there, pure devotee is there. So we have to hang on to that. So Prabhupada says we should have at least theoretical faith in the beginning. Then it becomes the faith cultivates. So there are many devotees who shares how they prayed for and they eventually got association. Of course, Papa Association of Devotees is also helps us to interact, to do service, to grow, nourish Krishna consciousness. However, if you are in a challenged situation where you do not have much access to devotees, nowadays there is online programs, you can take advantage of it. And also Keshav Swami Maharaj says you can at least plan for a break, what possible, maybe in once a month, a day can be, and you can travel to the nearby place where there is some devotee association, or you can invite them to your home, even if it's one or two devotee, can have kirtan. So that becomes a great way to cultivate association, I guess.
All right, Mataji, that is really helpful. Probably I can also implement that. So, Mataji, I am an aspiring devotee and I want to take initiation in the future. So, I understand that you have taken Brahman Dikshita. You are a Brahman Dikshita. So, I wanted you to help us understand how can we proceed, like from a initial stage. How can we proceed and how can we set goals into getting into this goal of attaining the initiation, and also why you have taken up the Brahmin Dikshita? Why have you done this?
Okay. Wonderful question, and congratulations, and I'm happy to know that you are planning to get initiated. That's very nice. Initiation, what are the steps to get initiated? Of course, we have a very structured program in International Society for Krishna Consciousness, from Shraddhavan to Ashray, then Prabhupada Ashray, then Guru Ashray, and then get initiated. So definitely, I guess in any Bhakti program, that module is there always. So that's quite helpful to as a aspirant, if you're really, and make sure that I think for any aspirant or anybody who is practicing at any stage of devotional service, we need to make sure we have a mentor to interact with, to question, to share our doubts, to share our sometimes we have some emotional help support we would need. So it's very important. It's not only during initial days, at any stage in the stage of devotional service, we all should have a mentor or many mentors for that matter. Like senior devotees, they say you should have few people in your call list. Like, when you have something you wanted to talk to someone, you should have few people whom you can reach out to and speak to, take guidance. Sometimes you want to only ventilate. So that's one important point that we have to keep in this journey of devotional service. So initiation is, as you mentioned rightly, it's a beginning. It's a formal process of getting connected to the Sampradaya. And to be specific about why I have taken to Brahmin initiation. Brahmin initiation, to me personally, it is, anything in devotion, the whole system, initiation, or second initiation, or if you follow the 9 steps of devotion service, from Sadhavan, all this is helping us to put us in perspective. So whether it is initiation, Harinam initiation, or it is Brahmin initiation, it's all about putting, for me, it's like putting me in perspective. So when we, like, when we chant, Srila Prabhupada gives the meaning of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Srila Prabhupada says, "Oh Krishna, or a nudge of Krishna, please engage me in your service. Or please accept me as your servant. Or please accept me." So that definitely means I am much lower and I'm accepting the supremacy of the Lord. So it is sort of surrender, Sharanagati. So sometimes we are doing it unknowingly, So the Kali Yuga, we are so rebellious sometimes when they introduce the concept of surrender, it may be quite heavy for. So when we say initiation, come se come start kijiye. Make a start.
Correct.
So that is a very intelligent way of a spiritual master to take that rebellious soul through that journey. So second initiation or Brahmanical initiation is more relevant when it comes to Archa Vigraha Seva. So when we had the opportunity, we have actually requested, we discussed with our mentor to look into what's required. So in that way, I would say technically we get Brahmanical initiation. But if you look at qualification, I would say when I got second initiated or Brahmanical initiated, and I was reading some of the things about the mantra and all, I really realized how much I'm a Shudra. I was feeling even it was a little heavier moments, I would say, to have that moment of truth, I would say. So, yes, I'm hoping I will make that journey with much attention and faith. Yes.
So Mataji, when you were serving in Avataridesh, was there any devotee interaction which really inspired you or motivated you, which you can share along with us?
Definitely, actually, there's not one, there are many devotees who, I would say, they held our hands and helped us to walk each step in Krishna consciousness. So we could survive in Krishna consciousness only with the help of devotees. We have started our attending Bhakti Vriksha with Mansi Mataji. She has moved also to India. Then I have also got great help and support and guidance from Prasadeshwar Prabhuji and Prem Mataji. I used to be attending their Bhakti Vriksha. And Mataji and Prabhuji used to, I would say, so selfless in the cooking and making all prasadam arrangements, and we had to just go and attend. And eventually Prabhuji also moved to India. Then later on we were with Siddha Gauranga Prabhuji and Shantalakshmi Mataji. Also wonderful family. Mataji and Prabhuji like parents. The entire family actually serving Krishna consciousness here and helping us, guiding us, sharing, whatever obstacles that you're facing, discussing with them. So amazing actually. And of course, I cannot forget about Bahuru Prabhuji and Sumadara Mataji. And they have kept it like so open, I would say, like same mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Patra, he is not saying who is qualified, who is not qualified, like so amazing. everybody is given a lot of chances. It's like, it's so open. It's like up to us to get the best use of the opportunity. Also, there are a number of devotees from Namahata. I always feel when I feel depressed, I must go to Namahata and sit there. Yeah, because to see them, it's seeing them itself, you will get a lot of relief. And initial days, we used to have Sureshwar Madhav Prabhuji, and he used to be a wonderful devotee. I used to really admire the way he will sing, so much absorption. I used to think, he may be some, from Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan, maybe he came like that, very innocent. And he was very young, it seems, when he came here. Even his age was not that correct, it seems, like that, when he came for job, because he wanted to get a job. So it was like, even it was shown on his face, like, so innocent. And he was initially, I heard later on, he was trained in some temple in his country, and then he came here. He was such a wonderful devotee, helped us, gave very good association and guidance. Yes, there are many senior devotees from Namahata who went back to their countries also. Was very helpful and very encouraging and gave us association. I think if I start taking name, I think I will not finish the names. That many names I got from very small, like, sometimes even from very young devotees, you get guidance for that matter, because Krishna gives guidance from everyone. But there are seriously many devotees involved in helping us to make this journey. Nobody is self-made in Krishna consciousness. And we always get help. I listen kirtan from all the Matajis here when they sing. I listen how they're singing, how much bhav they have. So we always from somebody. The words, even the thought process, cooking. I learned cooking after coming to Krishna consciousness, I would say. In Mangalore temple, when I used to, that Mataji used to tell how much ginger to have, how much chili, how to cut the vegetable. So even cooking I learned from Hare Krishna temple. So I have nothing of my own, in fact. Yes.
There's always something to learn
Yes.
when you're in Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
Very nice, Hari Dev. So, Mataji, can you share any incidents with the devotees that you had? Any particular incident with the devotees at Avataridesh?
Okay. I have, maybe I can share few. I think about Sureshwar Madhav Prabhuji. He used to come to our place where we used to stay at that time for whenever we have program. So once when he came, he used to help me with, because it's a big cooking. He will be the one to guide and all this. So one day when he came, like for me, I'm thinking, okay, now let's start cooking. So as soon as he came, he said, "No, Mataji, I have to chant first." And I was like, so, and he started chanting. And so nicely he's sitting and chanting. And I was like thinking, how do you prioritize? Sometimes when you have events, it's not that we should not focus on the event, but we will get lost in that event, and maybe at the end of the day you realize, oh, my mala is baki, and then you will struggle chanting and all this. But I was so surprised, and I have seen him also in many programs. He will be organizing, he will be into it, but when the program start, we will not see him. He will be sitting in the staircase and chanting. So I saw him a couple of times like that, and he chants very nicely. So always I look at him, how much affection he has towards chanting. That is Name Ruji. One who has got the taste for holy name, he is a Vaishnava. We may do so many bahana, like, put tilak, put sari, do Vaishnava pranam, tell mantras. But what is your taste for holy name? That is the test. We can do so many beats around the bush. So I always had great impression about Suresh Madhav Prabhuji, because his attraction, his taste in the holy name. Now, when there's a function also, we like to be in the function, right? But he will disappear and he will be in the staircase and he'll be chanting. So that's an amazing lesson, reflection. I never told him that, but I just observed. Then I cherish that. That should be a Vaishnava. Vaishnava means he has taste for holy name. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says the same thing. One who is chanting, that he is a Vaishnava. And I think another important thing that I learned from few Matajis, we used to have some Matajis here. For example, Her Grace Gunamai Mataji, and so at her time there were few other Matajis also who got very good taste in decorating Jagannath. All the Jagannath Radhyatra, Mataji will come with lot of festive mood, you know. Seeing her only, I will understand this is a festival. That festivity mood that she carries, and how much she will come and decorate. Along with her was Her Grace Sunita Mataji also. They will decorate the entire Rath, they will be the one to decorate. And a lot of inspiration from them in decorating, you know, that attitude, that seeing them, I just saw them only, you know, how much their attraction towards decorating the Lord. So sometimes when I think this is a Sangha Sanjay De Kama, when you are with such devotees, seeing their attraction and their liking to the details and how nicely they do, and they themselves also, I mean, she herself will come in a very nice attire. She says it is the Lord's festival, so I should also come in a very festive mood. And she also makes sure that Jagannath is decorated with a lot of flowers and a lot of very fine clothes. So that is a very nice point which I learned from Mataji. And Sumudara Mataji, Shantalakshmi Mataji, Deeptimid Mataji, all wonderful cook. Now, how much they cook for devotees, those are visiting devotees, how much care they give to all these visiting Vaishnavas. So amazing to see that caring attitude. We have many more actually devotees, how they teach the Vaishnava etiquette, how they tell you, like, you know, I had devotees encouraging me, okay, we should wear Vaishnava attire and all these things. So yes, this all we learned from Vaishnava Association.
Thank you so much for sharing your personal realizations with these wonderful devotees. So Mataji finally would request you to provide a message to all the devotees watching us through Bhakta Katha. A message from you to all of the devotees to Bhakta Katha.
Message for all the devotees. First of all, I want to thank again the podcast team and for showing this. It's a very sincere attempt. I am not sure how much helpful it is about my journey, but what I could tell all of you is Krishna consciousness, it works. It works. Sometimes I wonder, like, you know, what changes? Is it Krishna is listening to me, or am I really becoming a devotee? What I'm hearing from senior devotees, and I also apply to that sometimes to myself, to look back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, how I used to be, and what changes it has brought to me. So Krishna consciousness really works. It really works. We have to, it's up to the individual efforts, that how much we have embraced it, and with how much dedication and determination we are walking on that path. So today you may be having obstacles, or you have certain difficulties, or you are not at your best to give to Krishna consciousness. but you can always aspire and set a goal where you want to be, evolving in Krishna consciousness. So that should help us to make that journey with the blessing of all the wonderful Acharyas and our Srila Prabhupada, and of course by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much for your valuable time. And you are traveling back to your home country soon. So wishing you good luck for that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.